Okay. All right, thanks, Sonia. Okay, and also we actually have a little poll here just to gauge who's in the room and let's see. Okay, let me launch this poll. Do you see this poll? Wow, from Malaysia. Okay, from Malaysia. Wow, what time is it? Okay, it's early in the morning. New York City. Okay, we have Vancouver, Oakland, California. All right, so we have a little poll here. So I want people to write, will AI replace UX jobs? Yes, no, maybe. How many AI tools are you using regularly in your UX work right now? Because I assume most of you are in the UX industry. I'm Miranda. Okay, Pittsburgh. I studied in Pittsburgh at Carnegie Mellon. Okay, Washington. Awesome. Also, Sonia, maybe we can also share. Okay, so just one last thing while we wait for other people to come in. Okay, I'll share the Slido. Let me share my screen. So we also want to take a quick poll on what kind of tools are you using right now. So let me do this. Can you see my screen here? Okay, so if you use your phone to take the QR code here, it will lead you to Slido, and you can just type in what kind of AI tools you're currently using. For example, ChatGPT, Midjourney, DALL-E, etc., etc. So we'll see a word cloud, and we'll see which of these tools are most used. Okay, I see most people are using 5 tools, 1 to 5 tools. Canva, okay, nice. So we can see your answers live here. It's fun. Really, just 2? All right, Notion, okay. Notion.ai. Okay, we have 40 people now. We'll wait another 2 minutes and then we'll start. By the way, we have all those people who have the same background, UX and AI. They're a part of my team who helped work on this for the last 3 months. Okay, and I'll call their names when everybody's in here. Oh, interesting. This is regarded as 2 words. Is it Nevada? NV? Nevada? Netherlands. Wow. What time is it from Netherlands? Durham. Is that North Carolina? NC? Software engineer. Okay. All right. So for those of you who came in just now, please type in what city are you from? What's your background? Are you a UX designer, researcher, or other professions? And also, what do you want to know from this webinar? And also, we have a poll on the screen. Like, how many of you actually think that AI will replace UX jobs? Yes, no, maybe. And how many AI tools are you using on a regular basis? I see most of you are like 1 to 5. And also here's a Slido poll. If you scan the QR code, you can actually input what kind of tools you're actually using now. Oh, I haven't heard of the AI playground work. That's interesting. Hi, Steve, Vancouver. Thanks for coming. Okay, I see that some of you are interested in building AI tools to help the UX process and learning, innovation consultant. Okay, how it can be used in UX. Okay, awesome. All right, shall we start? Some of you are actually some of our senior designers who our team has interviewed in the past 3 months ago. So this webinar, it's about UX and AI, leveraging AI in the UX process. So for those of you who are interested in this topic, you probably heard that AI has the potential to increase productivity by up to 40%. And this is both from Accenture and McKinsey as well. Now, did you know that a lot of companies, it's faster and faster to build companies, right? And ChatGPT already garnered a few million people just within a week after it launched like last November. And interestingly, the reason why I chose to do this, like for this last 3 months, we were experimenting on how we can leverage AI in the UX process, because I actually run IXDA Vancouver with a bunch of volunteers, and we have consistently seen in many of our offline events, there's a lot of young people looking for jobs in UX, and we're IXDA Vancouver, by the way. So it made me really curious. And also at the same time, I'm actually part of a group called Design Research Group, Google Design Research Group. And a few months ago, we had a very interesting conversation about synthetic users. How many of you know what synthetic user means?
I can tell you what I think it is. I may be misinformed, but it's the idea that instead of recruiting humans to ask, to interview and walk through an interface or whatever, you create synthetic personas based on characteristics that you define, and then you query them instead of live humans.
Yes.
That's my understanding of what it is.
Yes, you're
Please
right.
correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right. It's actually a company called Synthetic Users, and I'll show you the website. What we did is because there was like a huge debate inside this Google design research group, people like questioning about it. So I got really curious about it too, because if you look at Synthetic User site, it says that you can do user research without recruiting users. Okay, so it's really AI users. So we got curious. So what we did these 3 months is we actually interviewed 12 real people, senior designers across the globe, from Hong Kong, Canada, US, UK, India, different places, and also compared it to the synthetic users and see what we got. So I'm going to share with you some results later, okay? Okay, so one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because we also see a lot of young people looking for jobs, and I'm wondering if it has to do with AI as well. And if you look at the study, it's saying that our workforce is shifting, okay? So this is 2016 compared to 2030, about like how the skills are shifting. So if you look on the left side here, the skills category, so physical manual skills are gonna shrink by like 10 billion. Basic cognitive skills are also gonna shrink around the same. So it's the higher cognitive skills and the social emotional skills and the tech skills are going to increase, okay? Here, the tech skills are increased 60%, social emotional skills are 26%, and the higher cognitive skills are 9%. So in the beginning with the poll that asked, do you think AI is going to replace UX jobs? It depends on how you define UX, right? There's a spectrum of skills inside UX, so we're gonna dissect it today. All right, so my name is Elaine. So my company is called Kaiser Innovation. And actually here we have a bunch of our students. So maybe I'll call their names. Okay, so we have the people with the blue background. We have Salva, wanna wave? Becky, Abraham, Dexter, Boomy, Ethan. We also have our TAs, our teacher assistants, Sonia, Ringo, and Vicky. Okay, so what we did was this past 3 months, because the reason that I shared with you just now, is we actually ran a 3 months boot camp, because I see a lot of people, a lot of young people, and actually more, it's like the career changers, okay? Career changes like between like late 20s to early 30s are trying to get into UX, but there is somehow like mismatch in skills or lack of training. So these 3 months, I was actually training them on like the UX process, but at the same time, add into diving deep into AI tools for UX. So the first month we were looking at 100 tools. So these guys worked really hard. We like dug into 100 tools, tested them, tried to apply it to our project. And then they were doing their own project. And then also we actually interviewed like 12 senior designers on their perspective on how AI is going to impact our industry. Do they think it's going to replace us or not? And what trends are going on? Like, how are they actually using AI in UX? Okay. Yeah, so this is actually what we did. That's why we have a bunch of students here. Okay, so my background is I actually have been in the UX industry for 28 years. So I started in the early .com days in the 90s. I was in the US for 12 years. I was originally from Hong Kong, went to US for 12 years, went back to Asia after 9/11 for 20 years, and just came back to North America, and I'm now in Vancouver, Canada. Yeah, I did my bachelor's and master's at Carnegie Mellon University, and also I'm on the business side as well. I'm an entrepreneur. I've done my EMBA. I've also done the design thinking bootcamp at Stanford. Okay, and right now I also run IXDA Vancouver in Canada here with a bunch of volunteers. So this is my one slide background. So this dates back all the way 20 years ago when I was in the US. Okay, so previously I was helping a lot of Western companies, tech companies in Asia. And because I was really early going back, I had to train people, because when I went back in 2002, nobody understood what I did. Anyway, so for this summer, what we did was train these career changes into the UX process. and also see where in the UX process we can leverage AI. So the topic was, how might we leverage AI in the design process or UX process? How are you guys' experience with AI so far? Positive, negative? Don't have time? Positive? Okay, fun. Have you found AI is actually better at a certain stage of the UX process versus not? Not as smart as I like to, but it's helping in project planning. Great, thanks for sharing. Okay, mostly positive, but definitely a lot of potential big pitfalls. Okay, Sean. Save a lot of time in researches, especially for summarization stuff. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so you see the scan me QR code. So after this webinar, we can share this PDF that we created to you guys. If you can scan the QR code and fill in, oh, I want this PDF, okay? So I'm gonna start sharing this mini report that we did. So according to McKinsey and also Accenture, yeah, AI is gonna increase productivity, right, by 40%. And then LinkedIn also reported that in between 2021 to 2023 July, AI jobs has actually increased substantially. Have you guys seen on Upwork, there's a huge column of AI jobs, like in every single industry, AI in UX, AI in like programming, software engineering, AI writers, AI this and AI that. And apparently some of those salaries are really high. And then according to Visual Capitalists, entry-level jobs only requiring manual labor and basic cognitive skills are going to be automated. So that's going to be replacing 125 billion jobs. Of course, it depends on what level of skills we're talking about. So in these 3 months, what we did was dive into 100 AI tools. We interviewed the 12 because we do qualitative research, right, as UX designers. I know user interviews, they also did a quantitative, a survey across the industry, but since we do qualitative research anyway, so we actually did it the qualitative way to dig deeper into the whys. We interviewed the 12 senior UX designers and researchers and compared what they answered compared with the AI generated personas. And specifically, it was synthetic users. We also put the questions into ChatGPT as well. And then the team applied AI tools to actual projects during the process. So some of these questions that we were trying to answer was, what are the most relevant AI tools for our UX industry? What are the pros and cons of humans versus AI in the design process? Which human skills in UX cannot be replaced by AI? What are the general sentiments of senior UX designers and researchers' views on adopting AI? And also, what are the concerns of senior UX designers and researchers with regards to AI? And when I say senior, this includes not just designers or maybe design executives also in larger companies. All right. So in this PDF, here is actually 100 AI tools that's relevant to the UX process. Because I think right now, if you go on the internet, you can find a lot of chat AI tools, but it's for other industries, like for marketing, for business or sales. So we did one for our industry. And you can see here, we have the discover, define, ideate, prototype, test process. And then within that, we broke it down to sections and the relevant tools. On top, the overarching one is the desktop research, project management, design presentation. Of course, right now, a lot of these tools are still in its infancy, I would say. Some of them are not even public yet. They're still in development, like UX art, right? UI's art, yeah. And some of them are super expensive, right? So we tried our best to dig into what's possible and relevant to our industry. Some of these you would see, let's say ChatGPT would be useful for different processes because some of the tools are pretty versatile. It can apply to one process and also another process, different steps. All right, are you guys curious to know what we found out? Or maybe let me ask you guys first. What do you think is the difference between humans and AI? Anyone wants to speak?
Yeah, I'll comment on that. Just with what I've experienced of AI, it's always giving you the answer that it thinks you want
Yeah,
based off of what you inputted. But
right.
oftentimes humans don't even know their own motivations and they do not follow logic a lot of the times. It's a lot of times emotion driven, which AI can't really tap into. That's what I would
Yeah,
say.
it plays along with what you want, like what it thinks you want to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
it does. It does right now, especially ChatGPT, right? Okay, so what we found out is, and I'll show you what we asked the people versus the AI. What we found was actually humans are definitely much more in-depth with nuances, what happened in their lives and their daily work about using AI, right? But the answers that was generated by synthetic users was very broad, like very general, right? However, it's also important to note that some things that the AI said was never mentioned by the people either. For example, in this case, the AI personas said things like AI is useful for e-commerce and website personalization, which was never mentioned by the 12 of the UX designers. Okay. This is our preliminary, we don't claim we have the answer. This is our preliminary conclusion is what we think AI is. The analogy is AI is actually, you guys have baked cakes before, right? AI is like the base of a cake, right? It's very bland, it's very general, it's not beautiful, surprising, there's no human touch, right? But it's did save you a few hours of work, right? But the human side, the emotions, the empathy, and the design, innovation, creativity is what makes the cake really presentable and desirable. So I personally think this analogy kind of captures what AI is good for and what humans are good at. And it's actually complementary. Because as we're talking to the senior designers and also doing desktop research about how AI is impacting the industry, what we've noticed is a lot of debates are like either or. It's either, oh wow, it's AI can never replace humans, right? Or it's the other way around. Oh, AI is the greatest next thing, like revolutionary. But I think seldom do we hear more in between voices. Do you guys remember at the turn of the century in the 1900s, like when cars came out, and before that it was horse carriages? There were also like a group of people called the Luddites, Luddites. There was a group of people who are really against machinery, and they went around to destroy machinery, right? We know what happened afterwards, right? There are cars everywhere now, right? Instead of horse carriages. I personally think back in those days, it's somebody's full-time job to actually control the carriage, right? In the beginning, when there was automotive, the cars were really stupid, right? You had two-person driving the car. One person was waving the flag in the front of the car, and one person was in front of the car having to turn the engine on, right? So in the early days, the automotive technology was also really stupid and really slow, right? But as we know, technology advances very fast, and I think AI is probably gonna be the same. Even 3 months ago, when we were starting this project, I think even now, 3 months later, there's a lot more tools in the market and it's just gonna be more mature. So I personally think we cannot ignore this trend. The genie's out of the bottle. We have to adapt and embrace it, and that's my personal view. Okay, so here are the top 10 insights that we found. Oh, let me show you first the nuances of how we did this. You guys know, for those of you who are user researchers, like professionally, you know how when we do user interviews, especially with GDPR and like privacy concerns, we cannot really sometimes show users' face or even keep that information, like their face, their identity, their names, their contacts, their emails, for example. And we have to, take that away, right? So we found one method to maybe effectively use AI generated pictures is this. So what I'm going to show you here is these are actually AI faces, but it's actually based on the real people. So it's not really that recognizable because it's AI generated, but it has the aura of the real person. So that could be one application of how we can use these Midjourney or these tools to generate AI faces. So so we don't have names. These are the 12 senior people, like real people that we interviewed, but the faces here are not real. Okay. So we interviewed people from US, Canada, India, UK. There are different cultures, like men, women. And then we documented what kind of company, what kind of size they work in, like how many years of experience. Most of them have like more than 10 to 20 years of experience. And these are some of their answers, right? And then we compared it to synthetic users. This is synthetic users. Have you guys seen this before? Sonia, do we have the synthetic user link?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can put it on the chat.
In the group chat.
Okay. So what we did was we asked the same questions to the real people and then the fake people. So when we say fake people, we mean, so the way synthetic users work is it claims that you can do user research without recruiting the users, without, it could be really inexpensive, right? So Sonia, can we share this?
Yeah, I just sent you the Zoom chat.
Okay. Okay, so the way this works is you can explore a problem space or test an idea. So let's go to explore problem space. And then you can say, this is an example. Who are you building it for? Oh, by the way, this actually already changed since we tested it previously. Okay, so let's just use the example here. Okay, so you can say, who's your target audience? Let's say 34-year-old worker in the financial industry, married with 2 dogs, love of Ruby. What are the pain points? Struggling to remember to water indoor plants. And then you can say how many users you want, and you can actually generate these people and their answers. Okay, so these are the actual answers that was generated from this platform. But what we notice is sometimes it repeats. The experiment was I had 3 people do this separately. So all these people, so this half, whoops. The first half here, the orange half, was done by me. And then the second half, the purple one, was done by 2 of my students and colleagues. And so we put in the same question, but then interestingly, it generated the same name. There's a Sarah Thompson here, and then there's a Sarah Thompson here. And then these 2 Sarah Thompsons have completely different profiles. But then when you look across the answers, it's almost like we keep reading the same thing regurgitated in a different way, and it really lacks the depth, right? Coming back to this is, so here is our preliminary conclusion, okay? Number 1, AI is most useful in the user research part of the UX process, because it can do, number 2 is it can save a lot of time by automating transcripts and documentation. We can use AI transcription with tools like Phantom. It will record the video. It will do the transcription word for word. It's maybe 85% accurate, like not 100%. Oftentimes the names and the nouns are missed, but that can be tweaked by manually, okay? And also, one thing to take note of is if the person doing the interview and the respondent has, their English is not very, like there's an accent, then the AI can't pick up as much, right? So number 3, AI is best at text summarization and extracting patterns and quotes. So I'm going to show you after this, like how I think instead of using synthetic users or relying completely on the AI generating answers out of the public internet, is to actually do the real user research one-on-one with people and then feed the transcript into AI and then ask, let's say, chat PDF the insights from the PDF. Okay, because AI is best at summarizing and extracting patterns. So we've tried actually extracting it from chat PDF and also copying that and pasting it onto Mural to find patterns. Number 4 is AI is great for desktop research and also report drafting. Number 5, AI is good for generating inspiring ideas for brainstorming and image generation. So you can see AI is actually good for first drafts, first ideas. So it's like the base of a cake. It saves you a lot of time, gives you a lot of options, but it's up to you to select and be critical to select what's good or not before you draw a conclusion, right? So don't completely rely on it. So 1 to 5 are the positives. 6 to 10 are the negatives. Okay. Number 6 is AI cannot replace human interviews as it lacks empathy, depth, and nuances, and also the answers are way too general. Number 7, AI may be biased and inaccurate at times, needing human critical discernment. Totally agree. Sometimes AI would make things up. We actually find like Bing AI, these tools that has sources, right? Because ChatGPT right now does not have sources. I think in our industry, it's really important to be able to substantiate like where the source is coming from. I think as these AI chatbots improve and if it can locate the actual source of what it's quoting, how it came to that conclusion, it'll be much better. Okay, number 8, AI lacks credible sources to be fully reliable for research and still needs human checking. Yeah, so this really the same point. So some AIs are better than others. Okay. Number 9, AI tools are not useful enough yet for effective UI designs. We haven't really found a tool yet that is good in the prototyping, like the user interface, visual design phase yet. Most of the tools are more image generation, DALL-E, Adobe Firefly, Midjourney. It's only good for generating images to be part of your UI, but it doesn't really lay out the UI well enough to replace your job. Maybe these tools are still work in progress. We just haven't found anything that's that useful right now. Okay, number 10, AI still have ethical, IP, and regulation issues and requires more development. Yeah, many senior designers have mentioned about the ethical issues, like, of course, because this is so recent, ChatGPT just came out to market last November, right? So all these regulations and issues are still in the air right now. I think none of us can answer this question right now. And some of the senior designers told us if they're working in a big company, they refrain from using these tools because they don't know if them putting stuff in is that legal or not. They might be disseminating their own internal confidential information out publicly, right? Even if you put stuff on ChatGPT. And also, if you use some of the generated images, is that an infringement or other artists' IP? So there are still a lot of questions up in the air. But smaller companies like us, we have free reign to try and error, so we have less restrictions. Okay, any questions so far about this? Okay, so here's a slide comparing the pros of the human brains versus the cons of AI. And then the other side is the cons of human versus the pros of AI. On the left side is, so if you look at human skills and human capability, what humans are great as is empathy, contextual understanding. We know how to empathize with users when we talk to them for real, either face-to-face or now on Zoom or online. And we can read people's expression and between the lines, right? On the opposite end is AI can't do that. There's no emotional intelligence, right? It's really algorithms. So of course the pros belongs to human. And also humans have more creativity. We can do complex problem solving, wicked problems in our industry. And we can generate more innovative design solutions, applying critical thinking. So that is non-standard. So you'll find AI has more blend or generalized outcomes, but that's also not to say it's not good. You just need to know how to use it, because what it can do very fast is give you a lot of options, right? Instead of you just, it used to take a lot of time to do brainstorming, but now I think it can move way faster. And I'm going to show you later on, we actually did some brainstorming on startup names just within 1 hour, and we were able to accomplish that. For humans, we have more ethical judgment, and because there's social values and norms that we adhere to, AI doesn't have that unless they're programmed that way. And hopefully our society would do a better job this time instead of social media. Okay, on the flip side is the cons of humans, okay? I'm sure all of you as user researchers, we are often limited by time and resources when we talk to users, right? I think talking to 20 users, sometimes it's already a lot of work and preparation, and it also costs a lot of money for clients as well. So it's really difficult to do qualitative user research at scale. And in our industry, sometimes we're often challenged by marketing people or market research. Oh, why can 12 or 20 people represent this whole industry or this whole market, right? So in that sense, maybe we can leverage AI, because what AI can do is it's not limited to 12 or 20, right? It can actually tap into a lot of data. But what we need to be careful about is what data it's tapping into. Is it just the public internet where information is more marketing instead of behavioral data? So that's why we suggest that maybe we can train AI with behavioral data, which is from actual user interviews. Okay, another con is as human beings, we have limited memory. I'm sure some of you have also experienced after interviewing users, if you don't debrief within 24 hours, you're gonna forget about all the details. And if you wait for a week or two, you completely forget everything, right? And the only way is to write it down. But if you wait too long to debrief, then you lose all the nuances, right? Here is where we find using AI transcription tools is really useful, although it's not 100% perfect, at least it's 85%. And then we can have some junior designers or interns help perfect the rest to adjust on the word, the brand names or the nouns, which is usually what it doesn't get. And also summarization. In the past, if we interview 20 people and when we debrief, we'll go, oh, remember that guy? He said this and that. And then you'll have to go through all the transcript, like who said this and that, right? But now with AI, you can actually search it. You can search the document and it can go exactly to that time code of where that sentence was said. We find that very useful. Okay, another cons is incomplete data collection. And also, even when we do qualitative research, oftentimes it's not possible we strive to get a variety of users or representation of different markets, different age group, different ethnicity, right? But oftentimes due to time constraints or people are not available, you still will be biased somehow, right? For example, in this research, we were a little bit biased towards senior designers who are like in Western Canada because we're here and we want to know more about like how they feel from in this market here. But it's impossible for us to do the whole entire globe, right? So in that sense, qualitative research also has a bit of constraints, right? But what we found out is when we were doing the synthetic users and having ChatGPT generate the personas, it actually came up with ideas that we've even never thought of. And none of the senior designers even mentioned. And I think how we can use AI this way is based on what the AI told us, we can actually go deeper into recruiting real people in those categories. For example, the AIs did mention about AI could be useful for personalization and e-commerce. So if we know that, we can actually, outside of those 20 people, we can actually talk more to those people in those industries, right? So that's how we found how it could be complementary, okay? Here is the design process. So what we did was we created a site. Okay, so this is still work in progress. We created a site and it's still in its early phase. So this is nonprofit. So what we did was with the UX process, we actually categorized each UX activity. If you click on it, it will show you the relevant tools, AI tools in that category. So for example, diary studies, observational research, right? And what we want to do is we hope this can be supported by the UX community, where if you log on, you can add new tools. You can also rate the tools, like for example, synthetic users, the community can rate the tools. Because what we found is right now you can go on the internet and there are like hundreds of tools coming out every single week. Like it's just impossible for all of us to try every single tool and know what's good or not. So maybe this way, if we form the structure and we can have the community help rate some of the tools and see what's good or not, right? But we'll have to see what is possible because somebody has to run the site. And also, here are the top 10 tools that amongst ourselves, like the team that was creating this, that we rated to be the top 10 for now. Okay, I can show you some of these tools. So any of you know about GLASP? This one, the first one here. GLASP. Any of you heard about it before? Raise your hand. No? Okay, this is a really awesome tool. This is like number one. So let's say if you go to YouTube and you found a video called, oh, will AI tools replace UX designers? And most of us we don't have time now to watch every single video, right? So what you can do is you can click, so you install this extension onto your browser, and you can just, with one click, it will summarize the whole video in text on ChatGPT in 1 second. So it can go, and then it will summarize the whole video. Okay, although I would actually love that if it actually takes snippets of the video and show me those 10 seconds snippet, right? So here you can just read this and then you already know like what this video is about. Here's also another tool called Eightify, but I think it's not as great.
I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, so here's one awesome tool that you can use, right? Okay, so for the human, these AI user heads that we created, so you can use this tool called human generator. Okay, so you can say, okay, so this person is a young adult, is a female, or okay, female is a, and you can choose Canadian, Caucasian, Chilean, Chinese, Colombian, Eurasian. Okay, let's try Eurasian. You can say if it's skinny or fat or overweight, and you can choose the head, long hair, short hair, ponytail, curly hair. Choose the hair color. Okay, let's choose a blonde. And then you can also add other descriptions like smiley face or glasses. So you can do rectangular, glasses, pink hair, like whatever you want. And you can generate it. Right, I actually paid for this. And you can tweak it, right? So I find this could be very useful if you can't really show the user's face because of GDPR compliance issues, but you want the team to get a feeling. Okay, that's funny. You want the team to get a feeling of what the user is. Then you might be able to just use this one. Okay, so somebody is, okay, I'll make this person Chinese. I'm curious, has your team found any tools for quantitative data? Any of our students wants to answer that? Actually, we did focus more on UX. So instead of going into more of the market research or quantitative tools, yeah, we focus more on the UX process. Okay. And you can...
Elon, I can add here that if you're interested in users' data mostly, for example, for e-commerce, you can use Essence and also Glassbox. I'm going to share those links in the chat for you.
Thank you, Salva. Thank you. Yeah, so you can actually tweak the heads however you like. All right. And then here is ChatGPT, okay? So let's say if you got a PDF, have you found a set combination of tools that work particularly well with each other? Well, it depends on what task you're trying to accomplish, right? That's why we have this site, because it really depends on where you're on the process. Some companies, they focus, if it's an established company, they do more usability testing. If it's more an innovation product, then it's more the front end exploratory research, right? And then some people's jobs are more in interaction design and visual interface. So it really depends on, because the process is so big and so many steps, it really depends on what you do, right? So I think it's hard to say which one. I think it's like Chinese medicine where you pick the right tools depending on what you're doing, right? So at least we try to come up with a framework that could be useful for everyone. Okay. Now, so let's say you have a PDF. Okay, so let's say if you have a PDF, you know how when we first start a project, like the clients might share with us their company market research reports or whatever reports, then you can actually put it here in Chat PDF. Okay, this is Chat PDF. Chat PDF is you can actually dump PDF files here and you can ask it questions. So let's say this is a deck about AI, right? So you can ask Chat PDF. Sometimes the answers are not 100% accurate, but I think over time, these tools are going to be better. So who is the founder? Let's see if it gets it. Oh, cool. So you can ask the PDF. So without me reading like 20 pages, it already picked out the founder is Kurt, who's the CEO of the company, right? And then here, this is actually the master transcript of all the 12 user interviews that we interviewed, and we put it into one PDF, like one of our students helped with that. And then you can go ask, let's put this in, extract out the patterns from the interviews in bullet points, right? So without reading everything, you can get a quick overview of what all the transcript is saying. Right, pain points in the UX process. Okay, so this is what some of the senior designer says. The UX process can be time consuming and repetitive. It can be challenging to get buy-in from stakeholders, to communicate the value of UX research. It can be difficult to keep up with the latest trends of technologies in UX. There are positive views on AI in UX. It has potential to be very useful, such as in the research and design aspect, especially the repetitive tasks, and also streamlining the UX process, and also opportunities. It can, yeah, so an AI could also be useful for tasks such as transcripts, emotional tagging. Yeah, so a lot of people do feel like it'll be great if there's a way to find out how AI can better integrate with our UX practice, right? Okay, so you can actually ask this PDF questions. That's that. Okay, here's one interesting tool. When we first used it, it was like really wow, right? So this creates presentations in seconds. So you can go create a new presentation and you can go, all right, why don't we create a presentation? Create a presentation about if AI will replace UX jobs. Two. And then it's going to come up with a few, like the whole menu of the presentation, and then you can go to continue, and then you can select a style and click continue, and it's gonna go blah 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 and do the whole presentation. Yeah, this is really impressive, right? So of course, I think the design is still from a professional standard. I think the fonts are still not really there, but it's a good first draft, right? They actually do have some good content that you can work from. Also, it does other languages too. We tried Chinese and it actually blurbed out things. Anyone wants to give me a topic? I can type it in. Just random topic. Anyone wants to try? Mushrooms. What about mushrooms? This one, like most tools, like most SaaS tools, it can let you try a few things and then ask you to pay. The benefits of eating bananas. Okay, psychedelic mushrooms and mental health. Okay, let me just go try this. Okay, so presentation. Okay. So it already came up with this whole presentation. All right, so let's pick another. Okay, this one. Yeah, potential therapeutic. Some of the content is not bad, like it's pretty okay. And also what's really interesting is when we design AI tools, we actually have to design it so that it looks intelligent, right? And I think there's going to be a lot more animation and things to make the interface look more intelligent. All right, the economic system, ecosystem of maple syrup. Okay, we'll try that too. And how it works is you have credits, right? It might first give you like, I don't know, 100 credits. And if you finished using it, then you have to pay more. That's how it works. Just we will, if you signed up on the Scan Me, our QR code, we can share with you our PDF and the recording if you want to. Okay, so you can put the economic ecosystem of maple syrup. All right, in 1 second, it came up with this, right? Okay, let's pick this one. Well, isn't it crazy? Like when we first saw this, we were like, wow. But I think the design of it could be better, but I'm sure this is going to improve over time. Whoa, it's getting crazy now. Hi, Rose. You want to ask a question?
Hi, my name is Rose. This is really interesting. It makes me think about the, what's it called? Microsoft Copilot, and then also the Google tools that are that just came out as well. Curious if you've used those tools, and if so, how are they similar or different to this tool?
Microsoft Copilot? Okay, any of our students wants to answer that question? Because we were looking at so many tools, like we divided and conquered. Okay, so these are all the tools. Anyone from our team? So here, if you look at the desktop research, we looked at ChatGPT, Perplexity, Bing AI. There's also other Google Bard, but Google Bard is not available in Canada, right? You need
Really? That's
VPN to get to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there are different ones. There's also Perplexity. I would say right now, not Perplexity. Not all tools are great yet. For example, Perplexity is another AI tool. So you can go. Anyone wants to ask a question here? Or I'll pick something that you guys wrote up there. Oh, here's also another one that is really cool. That is create a chart comparing the benefits of essential oils between. Oh, okay. Let's. Sorry, Catherine, you're asking me to do AI companion. All right, we'll try that. Sorry. Let's do comparing the different competitors of baby products in North America. So I'll just come up with a scenario that we might run into, like in our work. Yeah, let's see. Maybe it's not moving here. Let's try Bing. Okay, Bing. Okay. Okay, so it can actually create a chart of comparison. Yeah, Claude, we also tried. I guess the answer would be depending on what you use it for. I think Bing usually has the sources, right? But actually, we have limited access to Google Bard, so we don't know that much. And this will be very good for just some desktop research, say the topic that you're working on. And sometimes it also pulls up some images, right? Yeah. ChatGPT was the first, but I think because the data is not real time, so in our industry, if the data is not real time, like how can you rely on it, right? But it's good for small things like if you want to check grammar, or if you want to get some brainstorming on how to write a letter. I actually used ChatGPT to write a letter to my tenant, and it drafted it really well. And you can adjust the tonation, like if you want to be more serious, you want to be more friendly, you can adjust the tonation as well. So, okay, here is another thing. Okay, so here's a brainstorming of a brand, a startup brand. So you can do something like, okay, give me 100 names of a company that is selling baby products to North American market Keywords are, okay, you guys want to give me some keywords? Like maybe cute? You want to type in the chat? What do we want the brand to feel like? Polka dot, okay. Other names? Other keywords? Save, okay, good. Gender neutral, love. Okay, others? Sustainable, playful. Okay, good. All right, it's going to generate 100 names. It's better than us. Okay, it only generated 20, but I actually did try 100 and it was able to. What we do is we'll copy, let's say 100, and then we can paste it onto a Miro board. Okay, this time it didn't work, but previously, like when we just paste it, it could actually put all the names here, and then we'll have the client vote for which ones. And of course, we don't limit ourselves to the names that the AI brainstorm, but we'll have our clients also brainstorm other names that they got inspired by the original names, for example. So that's one way to use AI as well. Okay, let's move on and finish this part. Okay, so part of the questions that we asked the senior designers is also what human skills AI cannot replace yet. I put the word yet because you just never know. But in this point in time, we think these skills cannot be replaced. So this might be useful for those of you who are employers, like if you need to do your HR strategy, like what kind of talents you want to focus on training and hiring more versus those skills that are going to be replaced and that you probably don't want to hire those kind of skills anymore. So creativity and innovation, right? Having storytelling ability, thinking creatively to devise novel solutions, creating complex prototypes and wireframes. Number 2 here, user understanding and empathy. So I think it's pretty hard to create good personas. I think the AI can give you inspiration of things you've never thought of, but I think we still need human beings to synthesize all the data that was collected to come up with useful personas. Because you can interview a lot of people, but if you don't know how to extract the insights and make it useful for the design, that's also a gap, right? And how to connect with users emotionally and empathetically. Critical thinking, I think a lot of senior designers mention this, and they also want junior designers to have this ability, is how do you frame the problem? Like, how do you ask the right questions is very important. It's not just doing execution, right? Can you experiment? Can you be entrepreneurial in your job and analyze ideas, challenge assumptions? Like, do you know how to judge what's a good or bad design? Okay, on the right side is collaboration and communication. You still need to meet face-to-face, or even on Zoom, you still need to communicate with real humans. And also, one of the things that we often tell junior designers or career changes, if you want to find a job, you need to come out and meet real people. For some reason, after COVID, everybody's hiding behind their cameras indoors, and that's not going to build trust, right? And even if you're on a Zoom call, you should open your camera because that's how people recognize you. And the more they see you, the more they trust you. And that will increase your chances of finding a job. So don't underestimate how important it is to build trust meeting real people. Although nowadays you have a choice of working at home, but you still need to, at the right times, meet with real people to bond. And especially with people in other disciplines that you don't understand as well, like tech people, marketing people, sales people, you still need like the offline physical time, because that is gonna make your online and remote work much smoother. Okay. Negotiation and persuasion. This skill cannot be replaced by AI yet, especially with sales, persuading your bosses, your colleagues, right? Backing up your design decisions, facilitating stakeholder meetings, presenting to clients and stakeholders. We still do tell clients that, hey, for actual executive training and those, probably it's better to be face-to-face. Certain things can be online, And I think people need to make a judgment on what to save costs on and what not to. Business and strategy. So I think nowadays companies don't only look at, hey, do you have good UI skills, right? They want you to be able to back up your design, back up, like, where did you come up with a strategy? What research did you do to back up this design direction? And what is the business case for this, right? So having more business skills is always a good thing, I think. And being able to communicate with stakeholders on high strategic level decisions. Okay, so this is one of the second last slides. So like I mentioned previously, there's still a lot of ethical issues, intellectual property issues, and regulatory issues. Ethical issues is because the AI is algorithms, and because not the whole world is on the internet, right? So there will be people that are not covered, and it's also very English focused, right? Instead of all these other languages or other representation of cultures and ethnicity, and even gender biases, right? So we just need to be aware of that. AI is based on a certain set of people's background, right? So if we want it to be more neutral or representative, we might need to feed or train it, the data, to feed data into it. Privacy concerns, because everybody's putting all their data onto ChatGPT. Have you guys heard of Samsung? I think some of their employees put their own company information on there, and that means your company information is already out in the public, right? Because the AI is training on that. You need to be careful when you use these tools, and maybe ask your company what's the company policy on that before you find out too late that you actually infringe something. Truth and control. Okay, have you guys heard of, now AI can, like, even the bad people, they use AI to mimic your face, your voice. Like if somebody calls you on FaceTime and you don't know who that person is, once you open your camera, it can already capture your face and your voice, and that information can be used to cheat on your loved ones, right? Like your family members, and they might not be able to tell it's a fake person. So we need to be very careful about these things, because as technology advances, the illegal things will also go along with it, right? Intellectual property. Yeah, like I mentioned previously, if you use Midjourney, DALL-E, actually Adobe Firefly is better, because Adobe Firefly, you have to pay, but the image generated will have IP, but the other platforms might not, because it's taking internet information, images, and regenerating out of it. So you just never know, are you going to be infringing on other people's rights? So if you're doing commercial stuff, then it's better to check that out with your lawyers first. But of course, if it's for personal, then it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. So regulatory issues, it's accountability and responsibility. Who is responsible for establishing these rules? I think all of our communities should be responsible in every industry. For UX and design community, maybe we should, as a whole, propose what should be the do's and don'ts. And being transparent in AI processes helps users and stakeholders understand how AI system works and fosters trust and effective use. Yeah, so I think we're all responsible for this, because even the government doesn't know how to respond to this because it's so fast, right? Things are coming out every single day. And I think us being half in the tech industry, we actually comparatively know a lot more than other people, like in, let's say, bricks and mortars industry. So we should be responsible to propose regulatory frameworks, and especially designers, right? We are on the side of users, right? We're user-centered. So we should be representing the users and what will protect them. Okay, so the conclusion is, at this point, we feel that AI and humans can be complementary. It's about collaborative, and I think it's necessary for all of us to keep learning because things change so fast, right? A year ago, nobody even thought of this, right? I think if used properly, AI can augment our human capabilities. We just need to know its constraints, strengths, and weaknesses. I think both AI and humans have strengths and weaknesses, like I mentioned previously, and also balancing fears and benefits, right? Did you guys know, like, when electricity first came out during Thomas Edison's age, in that period of time, people were freaking out if having electricity at home will electrocute people in the house, right? So with any new technologies, I think people will be worried, but as time goes by, and the technology evolves and improves itself, then we can use the benefits of it and also calm down our fears. Okay, so here's credits to the team. Yeah, so we had the team did a lot of work. Researching was a huge portion because there was 100 tools. Even categorizing all of that was a huge effort. And we had people do visual design, the text, the UX design, and the web development. Okay. So if you're interested, you can scan this QR code. Did somebody tell me that this QR code is not the right one? Sonia, do we know if it is the right one? Okay, you can contact us at questions@kaiser.com. This is our website, my name, Elaine-Ann. If you scan this QR code and tell us a little bit about yourself so we know who we're talking to, then we can send you this PDF and also the video recording as well.
Yeah, this QR code works. And I'm also going to share the link here in the Zoom chat, the entire link.
Okay, awesome. All right, any questions? I think we had a lot of questions previously. Did you learn something?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe it's really interesting because it, as you said, like there are so many tools being released, powered by AI every week, every month, and it's very hard to keep track of that. Some of them I didn't even know that was a thing. So it's nice to have like one place so we can go to and have already be evaluated by other professionals. I think that's pretty useful.
Okay, yeah.
And I also think that, at least for me, it's particularly useful for text proofing, checking grammar, or as you said, like giving the first ideas to develop the rest of the text.
Yes, absolutely. Did this webinar ease up some nervousness, at least for some people who are nervous about AI replacing themselves? Yeah, so I think our team is currently discussing how we can keep this site maintained and going. Because I also run IXDA Vancouver, I'll talk to my nonprofit team, and maybe we also have other people like, hi, Eric, are you here? Eric Lee? Maybe VDC, or maybe we can find nonprofit communities to help maintain this so that we can keep it running, like Wikipedia, where everybody can find tools here rated by people trusted. But one challenge we find is how do we assess who's qualified to rate these tools? Because our industry, we don't have like a certification of a UX designer. Any thoughts? Or anybody can come in and rate it, and then it might not be as good anymore, right? Oh, I'm also curious as to why some of you said AI will not replace us. Like most of you said that, like 46%. And maybe anyone wants to, because I also want this to be like a discussion. Okay, some of you have some questions here. Log in with LinkedIn. Okay, good idea. Don't allow anonymous signups. Okay, so real names. Okay, any fundamental change on UX with the new tools? I would say right now, based on our experiment, it's really just making us work faster, right? For example, who has time to watch hours and hours of videos anymore, right? And also, I think this discovery is very useful if we can feed the AI with our transcript for user research and then ask the AI about what are the summaries from the research. That is actually great. Okay, the production part may be replaced, the UI. Yeah, probably. Actually, the interesting thing is, like, even Canva, I think Canva has already replaced a lot of junior graphic people. Or some of the tailor brands, like some of the sites that uses AI to generate brands. Although professionally, if you are like a large company like FedEx, you probably won't use those tools. It's only small companies or tech startups who don't have a lot of budget will use those tools, right? But it does feel a market need. Even secretaries can use Canva nowadays, right? So I would say maybe the low end of X, like the UI stuff, or coming out with different, like if you have used Midjourney, you will be able to generate interfaces like ideas or directions very quickly, right? So I think if you're not innovating, if it's just a regular dating app or a regular e-commerce site, those are so templatized nowadays that I think that's also one problem for junior designers, is because the tools are getting so easy that a lot of the designs are not anything special anymore, because a lot of the portfolios look very cookie cutter. And I think a lot of senior designers are complaining that they haven't seen a lot of great thinking into the work. A lot of portfolios are, hello, my name is blah, blah, right? It's all the same. I think in order to stand out from the crowd, you really need to be creative and not be the same as the sea of sameness, because a lot of the UI are so similar right now. Okay, AI does not understand user. That's why it's limited for deeper analysis. Yep. Yeah, because AI, the generative AI, it's actually just looking at the internet information, and it's like a huge brain, right? It can maybe regurgitate what's out there, but if it's something new that's never been thought of, I think that has limitations. Any historically stakeholder pain points with UX is research always takes too long. Yes. So I'm excited. Yes, definitely. I think AI transcription. Oh, wait, maybe we can show you Phantom. Phantom. Okay. Yeah. So for example, this one, it's a previous recording. So this is an event, and these are all the transcriptions. So you can click on that part.
Nice to see you again. Where are you guys?
You can click on that part.
And interview.
Yeah, you can click on that part, and you can also copy the whole summary into Google Docs or Gmail or Word, right? It'll tell you who was in that meeting. And also you can copy the whole transcript, or if you don't have time, you can have it generate the summary of the entire interview. Of course, sometimes you have to double check, because sometimes the nouns are sometimes not accurate. Yeah. Are there also wireframe AI tools? Can I ask the team to answer this? Do you, Salva or Dexter?
Sorry, what was the question?
Some wireframe AI tools are good.
Yes, I list them in the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, can we point this out here? Yeah, so when we share this with you, then you can explore all these tools. So wireframes would be here in prototyping, right?
Yes, we have 3. Yes, Visibly, UiZard, and yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so these 3, you can check it out. I would say right now, UiZard is also launching. I don't think it's complete yet, right? Okay. Others? You guys can talk. You don't have to just type. Any thoughts about using AI for translation? Okay, our team did check out translation. Sonia, you want to share about translation? From which language to which language? Kimi? Japanese? English,
No,
Japanese?
in my case, because I'm Brazilian, I was thinking about Portuguese and English, but in theory, I think maybe AI wouldn't be restrained by that. I don't know.
Okay. We did try Chinese and English, but I think it's not that great. Sonia, you want to?
Also depends on whether you want like in the written language, like translate the scripts or like simultaneous translation.
So what?
I'm talking about just the text, not simultaneous, because I know that is way trickier.
Okay, just the text.
Yes.
If for text, it's like during the interview or like after the interview.
Yeah, it could be like after the interview, or just like I have an article or I have a chapter or a document that I want to translate easier, because I feel that AI is better than just using, is way better in some tools than, for example, some years ago, even 2 years ago, when we were trying to use Google Translate, it still was very clunky. And I feel that at least in the test that I did, for example, with Notion, it was way more fluid. It still requires a human to review it, of course, but it's way better than Google Translate, for example.
Okay. From my understanding, because previously we focused on the simultaneous translation, because that one is very costly. So if for text translation, if just for documents or for pure text, I would recommend DeepL. I think it's very accurate. And I also have a suggestion that if you are looking for translation tools, actually you can look for tools that you can insert your vocabulary. Because some of the tools, the reason that it's not accurate is because there are some terminologies like in different industry. So if there's platforms that you can have some input, you can have your industry jargons or terminologies to integrate with their existing translation tools. This way it can be more accurate.
Oh, I see. Thank you so much for the answer. That's very interesting.
I also share the tool on DeepL in the Zoom chat. It's actually recommended by our German client, and they use it a lot.
Okay, I have one last slide to show you. So here, yeah, if you sign up, and we will send you this PDF. One of the slides is we comb through, and thanks to Salva on this, we comb through for every phase. There are four tools that we think are the best at this moment in time. So you can see like AI tools on the left side. Okay, discover, define, ideate, prototype, test. AI tools like the icons, right? What is it used for? How to use it? And on the right side, it's actually, this will be relevant to the ChatGPT prompt examples. And also it's relevant to the face. It's just not relevant to the AI tools here because these are all ChatGPT prompts. So these are some examples we came up with for the different phases that you can experiment with. Okay. And any more questions? I think the trend that AI can... Vandana, do you want to say your comment? Vandana? I think the trend that AI cannot replace the critical thinking or emotional aspect that humans have is what makes us think that the true UX jobs will not be replaced by AI. One of the things UX does is make the interaction between human and the computer system. So that can be harder. Yes. Yeah. So when we say UX, the word is really big, right? Do you mean UI, frames, interaction design, like research strategy? What do you mean? So I think certain parts of UX might be replaced, but not all. Yeah. One thing is also that a human still have to know what it wants to be able to tell yes, absolutely. AI won't replace you. Those who learn how to use AI will. Absolutely, Rose. Hannah, which AI was it for synthesizing? Yeah, GLAPS. Phantom look. Yeah, Phantom is really useful. It's just not 100% accurate yet. Okay, AI class for designers. Actually, we did run this AI and UX+AI class 3 months ago. Yeah, if there's a demand, and you can tell me in the QR code scan, you can tell us what are your interests. Do you want to learn? What do you want to learn more about? We can also provide training to companies, because I think now employers have just no time to look at all these tools that comes out every single week. It's just impossible. Even for us, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is because I don't have time to look at it all by myself either. I think Zoom also have that now translate part. Yeah, Zoom, if you pay I think it's enterprise fees, which is not cheap at all, it can do translation. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Yeah, our interns are good. Actually, they're our students. Some of them are interns. On top of productivity, our AI tools extend UX research and design to anything people cannot do well before. Oh, William, do you want to explain your question again? William? Okay, I'm not sure I really understand that question. Are AI tools extend user research and design to anything people cannot do well before? Oh, are they anything? I'll think really fast, right? Brainstorm 100 names. It's not possible for human brains to think so fast, right? And also extract patterns from a large amount of data. Let's say we interviewed 20 people, then that might be like 100 pages of transcript. In the past, we'll have to go through it line by line, which takes up a lot of time, right? And one of the issues of UX research is it takes too long. Yeah, it takes several months to get any answers. And most of the time, I think internal teams, they need very fast feedback for their product. So sometimes us as consultants, it takes 3 months to get us on board, talk about the quotation and the scope of work, get us on board, and then another 2-3 months to recruit users and ask them. So by the time we're done, it's 6 months into it. And then the market might have changed already, right? So this way we can work faster. Okay. So speed is productivity improvement. Yeah, speed is absolutely. What AI tools do you guys use for summarizing interviews? Actually, chat, like you can't just copy and paste stuff onto ChatGPT and have it summarize, right? But currently there's a limitation. For example, ChatGPT, Chat PDF, it can only sometimes take 10 pages at a time. Oh, actually, one of my interns, Vicky, actually compiled together 100 pages of the master transcript. But sometimes if you just upload a huge document, it can't process it. Yeah, so that may be something that we look for improvements there. Yeah, but here's 19 pages. So you can ask it, let's say, find me a quote. Find me a quote. Omit the username, just to keep it private. Find me a quote from the transcript that has negative views on AI and the time code. Oh, or maybe a positive one. This should be. Okay, see? So here's a quote, and it tells you the time code of where it is. So it used to be, it takes us a long time to find all these things, right? Okay, Salva, you want to share about Notably? Salva?
Yes. Yes, I have used notably for my UX research card. In a nutshell, I can tell you that it makes this part so much faster. It's unbelievable because it can transcribe all the interviews from the Zoom and at the same time gives you the highlights of the interview and help you make themes. As you can see here, these are the themes, and help you make themes. And by its AI templates, it can help you a lot in getting insights and in different ways for your research, for your market value, if you're searching for market value, anything else. Here, as you see, these are the templates that you can use. And it's really useful in giving you some inspirations about what to do next or how you can move on from this point on. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one called AI Board of Innovation. So this is an interesting site. So it can help you generate personas, generate how might we statements, interview script, research brief, problem understanding, opportunity scores. So you can say create how might we, and your target audience will be moms with babies. Problem is babies cry all the time. Okay, I'm just making this up. And then it can generate you how might we statements. So this is specifically for our industry, right? Like, how might we soothe babies and reduce their crying episodes for moms? How might we create a calming environment for babies to minimize their crying for moms? Interview script. So you can also, the same as research questions as who do Chinese moms feed babies? Target audience, Chinese moms. Background in China, whatever. Okay, you can generate the script. So this AI is called Phil. Okay, can take a little long, 50 seconds. Nowadays, people only have like 8 seconds attention span, right? Oh, you can also ask for strategic advice from different personas, like you can ask advice from like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, right? Okay, so these are like the interview script, it'll generate questions as a draft, right? Okay, strategic advice, you can, oh, hello. Okay, the site might be not working. Okay, strategic advice. Oh, interesting. Okay, but strategic advice is that you can ask from famous people, like Elon Musk. What's their advice for you? Personas, okay, Chinese moms. Top question, babies. Then it will come up with different personas. So it's good for brainstorming, right? Okay, I think we're out of time. Anything else? Just remember to, so here, okay, archetype 1, a busy working mom. Archetype 2, first time mom, right? It's just a fast way to get you started, I think, right? Yep, please scan this QR code and we'll send you the PDF, okay? All right, if not, Salva, you want to talk about this? The transcript? Fireflies?
Yes, I also added that if you have any interview transcriptions, you can use Fireflies. It accurately summarize your interviews. The accuracy is high, really, and it's really useful in saving time.
Okay. Lastly, yes, if you scan the QR code, Sonia, can you share the link again? You get to this page and we just want to know a little bit more about what are your interests? Are you trying to upgrade yourself to learn more about AI and UX? If your organization wants to know how to adjust your hiring plans, what kind of talent you need more or train more. Yeah, and because I know a lot of people don't have time to look into all these tools, but they at the same time they also want their tools to get up to speed with the rest of the world, right? Yeah, and then you can tell us anything else you want. This is my site, my personal site, and yeah, we ran this for 3 months, and yeah, if there's a demand, we'll be happy to do it again. Okay. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, the recording we can also share with you. Okay, if no more questions, then that's it. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. Okay, bye. Okay, for our students, those of you who haven't yet gotten your NFT. Oh, okay, so I guess everybody's not here. Okay, let's stop the recording.